Alrighty, all right, we are live. How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to another Talking Bars. It's another week of Talking Bars, yo. So y'all get up in here, man. Let's get this week started. Don't forget, as soon as you join the chat, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure and go on down below, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on your bell notifications to get notified whenever we drop new videos. Go ahead right now. If you're here right now, if you're watching this later, share the video to all your friends that love 80s, 90s, 2000s hip hop. All right. We are the spot for the best hip hop. All right. Old school freestyles, unreleased joints. We got a whole bunch of stuff, man. So y'all come up in here, share the channel, hit the like button down below. If you're watching this video right now, go ahead, hit that like button, all right? This is G-Unit Month 2, so y'all don't forget, y'all got to tap in G-Unit Month all month long. We dropping videos for G-Unit Month, man, so we're going to be giving y'all a whole lot of G-Unit this whole month right here, all right? So before we get into the video, let's start off the video with a couple RIPs recently. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. I see Blocker is in the chat. Blocker, thanks for coming through. Blocker is here. I see Samurai Beast Warrior. Oh, that's an ill name. Samurai Beast Warrior, thanks for coming through. I see Charlie is in the building. Charlie, thanks for coming through as usual. Charlie is in the building. Iman is in the building. Iman is here. Harlem is in the building each and every Thursday. Let me read what y'all saying now. Blocker said, what's up? Shout out to Blocker. Samurai Beast Warrior said, Rakim have a new album out? Yes, Rakim has a new album. We're going to be doing the review tonight. Stay with us, Beast Warrior. Charlie has a comment. Charlie said, did you like the 18th Letter or the Master by Rakim? I actually like the 18th Letter better than the Master. Thank you for that, Charlie. Iman says, I don't like it. Iman, we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about this new Rakim album. And we got the homie Jason in the building. We got Take Flight Society's own, the Hype Man of the Year. JS is in the building. Jason's sweet, but you can call him JS. JS could be his stage name, or Mr. Hype Man, or Mr. Take Flight. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to the whole Take Flight Society. Jason got a comment. Jason says, "What up, 16? This Saturday, this is for y'all. This is for y'all. This Saturday." Reg McFly is at the Buffalo Herd Fest with Fat Joe. Shout out to the Bronx, all right, with Fat Joe and Rochester with Benny the Butcher. Shout out to Benny, man. Between Benny and J. Cole, these are like my two favorite rappers from the last 10, 15 years. Shout out to J. Cole. Shout out to Benny the Butcher. Shows in one night. So he says, Fat Joe, Rochester with Benny the Butcher, 2 shows in one night, all right? August 11th. Y'all hear that? Red McFly, August 11th, Philly with the Locks, the best hip hop group of all time. Shout out Jason. Jason, thanks for coming through, man. All right. Listen, let's start this off. Rest in peace, Polo G. We just lost DJ Polo. DJ Polo was the DJ for what's his name? Cool G Rap. Cool G Rap's DJ Polo passed away, and also recently Chino XL, one of the craziest spitters. When it comes to spitters, you know how Busta Rhymes be spitting fast. You know how Eminem. Think of that. If you never listen to Chino XL, think of Eminem's flow. Think of Busta Rhymes when he's going. Think of not Exhibit. What's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. But anyway, rest in peace, DJ Polo. Rest in peace to Chino XL. All right, let's get into the video, y'all. And I need y'all to hit the comment section tonight because we're gonna be going over each and every track in this new album. Today we are doing the album review of Rakim's new album, which is titled God's Network, The Rebirth. Charlie has a comment. Charlie says, yeah, I don't like it either. Way too many features. All right. And Blocker has a comment. Blocker said, this is actually my first time hearing you doing an album review on live. Yes, this is our first album review on Talking Bars. So we're going to be Talking Bars. We're going to shake it up. All right. So we're going to shake it up here on Talking Bars. All right. Let's get into the review. Now, this album only has 7 tracks. Y'all know how I feel about the length of albums, how many tracks should be on an album. Y'all know I think It Was Written is a better album than Illmatic because It Was Written had way more content than Illmatic and great content. So this album only has 7 tracks on there. So the first track is called Be Ill, and this track is featuring my boy Corrupt. Shout out to the DPGC. Shout out to the DPG. Corrupt is on here, and also Master Killer is also on this track. This entire album is produced by Rakim, so I think this is Rakim's first album where he is doing the full-on production. Now, this first track, Be Ill, it might be the best track on the album. Okay. Rakim opens up with a tough verse. Rakim has a tough verse. Corrupt has a tough verse. Master Killer has a tough verse. So really good track. Really good overall track. The only real downside to this track might be the production. I don't think the production kept up with the bars because Master Killer ripped it. Corrupt ripped it. Rakim ripped it. So track 1, pretty good track. One of my favorite tracks on the album, track number 1, featuring my boy Corrupt. You all know how I feel about Corrupt and Master Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan. So two heavy spitters on track number 1. I see Diamond Onyx is in the building. Diamond Onyx is here. Shout out to Diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Diamond, thanks for coming through. Diamond has a comment. Diamond says, as always, man, hit that like button. Listen, if you're here right now watching the video, do like Diamond says, man. Hit the like button down below, all right? Let's get into track number 2. I see Jason has a comment. Jason says, I didn't get the chance to listen to Rakim's new album yet. I will later. R.I.P. to Polo G and Chino XL. By the way, my rap stage name, Hype Man, is J Sweets. Jay Sweets. All right, y'all got it. Y'all heard it here from Jay himself. Call him by his stage name, Jay Sweets. All right, shout out to Jay's. Shout out to my man Jay. Shout out to the Take Flight Society. Shout out to Red McFly doing his thing out there. What else we got? We got Vermin Smart in the chat. Vermin, thanks for coming through. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you subscribe to the channel. Vernon got her comment. Vernon says, are you Trinidadian or Tobagonian? Vernon, I am from Trinidad. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm from the island of Trinidad. I was born in Trinidad, Port of Spain, Carenage, Lansmeter Road. Vernon is in the building. Shout out to Vernon. Jason says, happy birthday to Diamond Onyx. Shine bright like a diamond. Yo, if you're here right now, drop a happy birthday for Diamond Onyx in the chat. Drop a diamond, not the Rockefeller diamond. Drop a diamond and drop happy birthday for Diamond Onyx in the chat right now. Track number 2. Track number 2 is called Now Is the Time. And the production on this track is more of a smooth out production. Again, Rakim produced this track, and Rakim's verse is pretty good on this track, okay? So this track features Rakim, BG, Husk Kingpin, and the Compton Menace. I want to say something right now, too. Shout out to Rakim for BG just coming home. BG just got released. Is it early this year or late last year? BG just came home, and Rakim has him on his new album. So I think that's a big plus. Shout out to Rakim for doing that. BG has a pretty good verse on this album. I think Compton Menace verse is good as well. Husk Kingpin has a nice verse, but I think, again, Rakim has the outstanding verse on this track. Second, I think BG has the second best song on track number 2, which is called Now Is the Time. Again, a more relaxed track. The hook is nice, relaxed track, nothing too crazy. All right, let's get into track number 3. Now this is where things get interesting, y'all. Okay, so track number 3 is called Love Is the Message. Again, written by, produced by Rakim. This track features Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace Nipsey, Planet Asia, Louis King, Snoop Dogg, Sally Green, Kobe, and the LA Grand Show. Now, again, I want to say again, shout out to Rakim. Okay, we just had BG on one of the tracks. BG just came home. He has BG on his record. Here, track number 3, he has Nipsey Hussle on there. Very good track. I like this track, but this is where things changed a little bit. Rakim does not have a verse on this track. Rakim does the intro, and the verses come after that. Rakim does not have a verse on this track. I want to be clear. He's still the producer. He did not rap. Yes, he rapped the intro, but he does not have a traditional verse on this album. Again, production very mild. The Nipsey verse was an okay verse. Nipsey verse was a good verse, but the best verse on this track was actually by Planet Asia. So shout out to that. Best verse, Planet Asia for sure. But again, 7 tracks on the album. This is track number 3. Okay, this is track number 3. And Rakim does not have a verse on this track. Hit the comment section if you're here right now. Vermin Smart has a comment. Vermin says, my parents are from Belmont and Laventille natives. Family. So shout out to Vernon Smart. I do have family in Belmont, and my mother actually grew up in Sawar. So I lived in Sawar for a little bit too, but I spent most of my life in Caranage. So shout out to Vernon Smart. So that's track number 3. Rakim does not have a verse on track number 3. Okay, let's move into track number 4. Now, I want to start this again by saying track number 4. Okay, track number 4 features Fred the Godson, rest in peace, Skyzo, and there are some vocals here from DMX as well. Rest in peace, DMX. DMX closes out the album with a prayer. Okay, so if you know anything about DMX, if you watch DMX's career, if you listen to any of DMX's albums, you will know that DMX sometimes open and sometimes closes his album with a prayer. So think of some of DMX's material where he's praying on the album. This is the same thing here on track 4. The end of this track, DMX has a prayer. Very well done. I love hearing DMX's voice. Shout out to that. And again, I want to say this again. This is another track with another feature, which is Fred the Godson. Fred the Godson, I think, has the best verse on this track. But once again, I want to make sure I make this point clear. Rakim does not have a verse on this track. Okay? Rakim opens up the album with the hook. He does not have a traditional verse on this album. So here we are. 4 songs in, we've only had 2 tracks so far with a traditional Rakim verse. Again, production, not one of my favorite productions on the album. Even though I do love the Fred the Godson verse. Okay, wait. Let me take that back. I like the track. I think the beat is a little bit sped up. It's a little bit, but there's something about the track that the production needs more. But Fred the Godson's verse is by far the best verse on this track. Track number 4. All right. Fire track, but something's missing from that track. All right, let's get into track number 5. Okay. Track number 5 is called Pendulum Swing. This might be the best track on the album. And again, I know I'm saying this over and over and over, but we already got Corrupt, Master Killer on the first song, features. The second track, we had BG, Compton Menace on there. All right. Third track, we had Nipsey Hussle on there. All right. So here we are, track 4. We had DMX, Fred the Godson on track 4. Okay. This track here, we have LA the Dark Man, Crooked Eye. Shout out to Crooked Eye. Crooked Eye's listen. I'm not a big Crooked Eye fan. Okay, when it comes to the Four Horsemen, when it comes to Slaughterhouse, y'all know Joe Budden is my favorite member of Slaughterhouse. Then Joel Ortiz, but Crooked Eye was never one of my favorite artists. But on this track right here, Crooked Eye went in. Bars. All right. LA the Dark Man had a pretty good verse on this track as well. One of my top 5 MCs of all time, Cannabis, is on this track. It's not one of Cannabis's best verses. I love you, Cannabis. You're my man. I think you're amazing. But this verse right here is not one of Cannabis's verses. This verse right here, this is the thing that people say about Cannabis all the time. He knows how to rap, he knows how to rhyme, but it seems like he doesn't know how to make a track or put together an album. So on this track right here, Pendulum Swing, Cannabis goes in. He's just going. But his verse is not cohesive. If you know what I'm saying. All right, so he's spitting bars. But it's like the bars are going in one ear out the other. All right, but by far, the best verse on Pendulum Swing is Chino XL. Rest in peace, Chino XL. We just talked about him at the top of the show. He just passed away. Fred the Godson is on here. Shout out to Fred the Godson. He passed away. Nipsey Hussle is on the album. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle on the album. But this Chino XL verse, oh my. Chino goes in. Memorable verse. It's this verse is one of those verses where you want to fast forward the track to listen to this verse. That's how good the Chino XL verse is. And it kind of gets me upset that he just passed away. So he may not get the recognition for this verse like he should. You know, if he was here, people would have listened to this and be like, yo, who's Chino XL? Who's Chino XL? You know, now that he's passed away, we don't have the opportunity to say, yo, Chino, that's a great verse. Or we don't have the opportunity to see him go out there and perform this verse with Rakim. But track number 5, Pendulum Swing, Chino XL, best verse, hands down on there. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. Diamond Onyx says, rest in peace to DMX. Rest in peace to the X-Man. Rest in peace to X all the time, all day, every day. Y'all know what it is. Vernon Smart has a comment. Vernon says, I think it's necessary for Rakim to transition into production so that the public could see his versatility. Most people don't know that was a saxophone. He was a saxophone player. I like the album. So Vernon, let me touch on this for a second, yo. And I like what Vernon is saying. I like what Vernon Smart just said. Like, there are artists out there that do music and they do production as well. And Rakim's talents might be in production. I don't know, but for this album, so far, track number 5, so far, his production quality is mid. Okay, and I'm not trying to disrespect Rakim in any way, but the production does not sound sophisticated. If you listen to a 90s production and you listen to a beat from the 90s, most DJs they layer their tracks with different things. Take for instance a RZA. You listen to a RZA track, and I know RZA has been producing forever. I know. But you listen to a RZA track, RZA has stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. Like you hear 10 different things going on in a RZA track. Same thing with a guy like a Just Blaze. You listen to a Just Blaze production, there's so many different things going on in a Just Blaze production. And when you listen to the production on this album from Rakim, it's good but not great. So like Vernon says, shout out to Rakim for getting his production on. Maybe he can transition into producing. But so far, track number 5, he's produced all 5 tracks so far, but he's only rapped on 2 tracks so far. Track number 5. Vernon Smart, thank you for that comment. Let me read that comment again. Vernon Smart said, I think it's necessary for Rakim to transition into production so that the public could see his versatility. Most people don't know that was a saxophone player too, and he likes the album. Shout out to Vernon Smart for that. Diamond Onyx again says, R.I.P. to the X-Men. Blocker has a comment. Blocker said, just like Dr. Dre didn't have a verse on Explosive. Explosive is one song, okay? Dr. Dre's album, he mostly raps on almost all the tracks, and Dr. Dre's album has 15 to 18 tracks. This is a 7, Blocker, remember, this is a 7-track album. 7 tracks. And he's only rhymed on 2 so far, and we're on track number 5. So let's put that into perspective, okay, Blocker? All right, thank you for that, Blocker. Blocker also says, R.I.P. to the X-Men. Diamond Onyx says he is raw business, Fred the Godson. Rest in peace to Fred the Godson. Diamond Onyx has another comment. Diamond says, speaking of Dr. Dre, he's produced an R&B album for Marsha, the Floetry Group member from the 90s. Shout out to Dre. Dre has production on many different levels that some people still don't even know about. So, Diamond, thank you for that. Vernon Smart says, L.A. the Dark Man is pronounced La. That is true, Vernon. Okay, if you guys hear me saying L.A. the Dark Man, his name is pronounced La the Dark Man. The Dark Man. That's true. That's true. But I live here in New York. Okay, and when L.A. the Dark Man, when La the Dark Man came out, yes, we knew his name was La the Dark Man, but a lot of people called him L.A. the Dark Man back in the 90s. I still call him L.A. the Dark Man, but Vernon Smart is correct. It is pronounced La the Dark Man. But I'm old school. Here in New York, here in Queens, we used to call him L.A. the Dark Man when we used to go buy his CDs, go buy his mixtapes. So I still call him L.A. the Dark Man. But Vernon is correct. La the Dark Man. Shout out to that. All right. Thank you for that, Vernon. See what else going on in the chat. Y'all hit the chat. Hit the like button down below if you're here right now. Let's move in to the second to last track. Track number 6. Okay. Hold on one second. And this track is called International. And this track features Cool G Rap, Tri-State, and Joel Ortiz. Now, again, I want to make sure I'm being clear. Okay, guys? Rakim does not have a traditional verse on this song as well. He has a verse on track 1. He has a verse on track 2. He has no verse on track 3, 4, 5, and now track 6. He has a hook. He sings the hook. He sings the hook, but he does not have a verse. Joel Ortiz closes out the track. Joel Ortiz has a fire verse. All right. Cool G Rap is on the album. Tri-State is also on the album. Cool G Rap opens up the track with his verse, and Joel Ortiz closes out the track with Joel Ortiz's verse. Rakim does not have a verse on this album. Bars heavy. We're talking about Joel Ortiz here. So this track, bars heavy. Cool G rap, good but not great. But bars heavy. Okay? Tri-State has a pretty good verse too. I'm not gonna downplay that. So good track, but again, the production does not keep up with the bars. Good production, not great production. But highlights for this track, Joel Ortiz. Joel Ortiz, fire verse. All right? So that's track number 6. Okay? We're going to move into the final track of the album. And this track is the title of the album, Sign of 7 by Rakim. So this track is called Sign of 7. Now, this track right here, again, I know I sound like a broken record. Rakim does not have a verse on this track as well. Track number 7. Rakim has the outro on the track. So the track has Method Man, Prodigy, Big Twin. So Prodigy opens up the track. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Love Prodigy. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Mobb Deep. Y'all see him. Y'all see him there. Rest in peace to Prodigy. Rest in peace. Bandana P. Bandana P opens up the track. I think the second verse is X-Rater, and I think Method Man closes out the track. And shout out to Big Twins. Listen, Big Twins does the hook for this track. And there's something about Big Twins' voice. He has a rapper voice, and that, I don't know if that makes sense in some ways, but when you hear his grimy, gritty voice, like Big Twins' voice just makes sense for this track. So highlights for this track, Big Twins' chorus on this, Prodigy's verse, pretty good verse. I love the verse of Prodigy, but the highlight for this track is by far Method Man. Method Man rips this track to shreds. Shout out to the Wu. Shout out to Method Man for still being relevant today, putting down a verse like this. And this track right here is one of the better produced tracks by Rakim. But again, Rakim does not have a verse on this track. He does the outro, which is, it sounds like it's an interview with somebody interviewing him, and he's answering a question, and they put that at the end of the track. So again, Rakim only has 2 tracks on a 7-track album where he has a verse. Let me hit the comments, see what you guys saying. Hit the like button right now. If you're here right now, go on down, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Let me read some chats. We got NYC Addictions in the building. Yeah. NYC Addictions is here, y'all. Go subscribe to his channel. If you like NYC, if you like NYC's Addictions, go follow his channel. NYC says, what up to y'all? Iman has a comment. Harlem is in the building. Iman says, Fat Joe is probably the only old school rapper that could put out a fire album with hot singles. Fat Joe and Remy has a really nice track out right now too. So Iman, you might be onto something, because Fat Joe has been putting out some hot singles in the last 5-7 years. So Iman, yeah. Thanks for that. Vernon Smart has a comment. Vernon says, what do you think of the DJ producers who can MC, such as Pete Rock, RZA, Havoc, Diamond D, Kid Capri, Lord Finesse, Bronze, Naret, and True Master, and Aguilar? So, good question. I like producers who can rap. I think my favorite producer who can rap is still Kanye. I think Kanye's first 3 albums is maybe 3 of the best albums from a rapper producer I can think of. Yes, I know Dr. Dre has some pretty dope albums too, but I think Chronic and Chronic 2001, maybe Dr. Dre's best album. I still think Kanye has a better discography than Dr. Dre. So let me go back to the list. So DJ producers, I like Pete Rock as an artist. I like him more of an old school artist when he was down with CL Smooth. Very good production. Pete Rock is a very great producer, and Pete Rock just did the album with Common. What's it called? The Auditorium. I think it's called the Auditorium Volume 1. Let me pull it up in title. Hold on a second, y'all. That Pete Rock album just came out with right, yeah, the Auditorium Volume 1, Pete Rock and Common. That album is amazing. Love that album. Shout out to Pete Rock. I love RZA. I don't think RZA is the top 5 rappers in Wu-Tang. Maybe he's not top 5, but I do like RZA's grimy, edgy, unorthodox style. And as a producer, listen, go check out the song called Pinky Ring. Go listen to Pinky Ring from RZA. Oh, hold on. Go listen to Pinky Ring. All right, from the Wu-Tang Clan album. Yeah. He said, yo, don't erase none of that good shit at the beginning. Go listen to that track from RZA and understand when I said earlier, when a producer can produce a track and the track has layers and layers and layers and layers of production. Go listen to Uzi Pinky Ring from the RZA and you will understand what I mean by when a producer really can produce. No disrespect to Rakim, but he's just not there yet as a producer. Shout out to RZA. I love Havoc. Havoc is my man. Mobb Deep all day, every day, man. And shout out to Mobb Deep. Just did that album with Styles P, Wreckage Manor. That album was amazing. I still bump that. So shout out to Havoc. Havoc's my man. Diamond D, I'm not too keen on Diamond D stuff. I know who Diamond D is. Not too keen on his stuff. Shout out to Kid Capri. Kid Capri is a better DJ than a rapper. Yes, Kid Capri has a couple albums. They're cool when he raps. But Kid Capri as a DJ, if you don't listen to blends, if you don't know what blends is, go check out Kid Capri's blends CDs from back in the days. Shout out to Kid Capri. Lord Finesse, I'm more of a Lord Finesse rapper, so I'm not keen to Lord Finesse's production stuff. So Vernon, I love rappers that can produce. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to that. And Vernon says, I forgot Large Professor. Shout out to Large Professor as well. Shout out to Nas at the barbecue. We got some more comments in here. Let me read some more comments, yo. Diamond Onyx says, R.I.P. to Prodigy. R.I.P. to Bandana P, yo. All right. Vernon says, in my honest opinion, Big Twiz has better voice and cadence than Prodigy, but I'll digress. Whoa, Vernon, whoa. Pump your brakes, my man. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Listen. One of the things I love about Big Twins, I remember when Mobb Deep was about to join, G Unit. And at the time, Mobb Deep was heavy in New York, heavy around the country as well. People knew who Mobb Deep was. But they were about to make the transition and go join G Unit. And I remember Big Twins was one out of Mobb Deep that says, yo, do not do it. Big Twins was totally against Mobb Deep joining G Unit. Big Twins thought Mobb Deep didn't need G Unit. Mobb Deep wanted to Mobb Deep was popular, but G Unit was gone. So Mobb Deep thought that joining G Unit, it would take them to that next step. It did. But I remember Big Twins was always one of those that was totally against Havoc and Prodigy joining G Unit. And shout out to Big Twins. I always remember that. I always remember the movie that they did when they did that that album. Oh, I forgot the album. The album with the brown album. So shout out to Big Twins, man. But Big Twins can't mess with Prodigy. Voice, verse, classic tracks. No, I'm not co-signing that, Vernon. I'm not co-signing that. Mobb Deep, P, Bandana P over everybody. All right, let's get back into it, y'all. So, R.I.P. to Chino XL one more time. So let's get back to the album review. 7 tracks on the album. Track number 1, Be Ill. Track number 2, Now Is the Time. Track number 3, Love Is the Message. Track number 4, God's Playground. Track number 5, Pendulum Swing. Track number 6, International. Track number 7, Sign of 7. Rakim only raps on 2 tracks. Be Ill, track number 1. Now Is the Time, track number 2. He only has hooks and intros or outros on the other 5 tracks. This album has a lot of heavy hitter spitters. All right? I love this album because it has Joel Ortiz, Method Man, Crooked I, Corrupt, Fred the Godson, Cool G Rap, Chino XL, Master Killer. So this album has heavy spitters is in this album. Bars. You want bars? You want bars? You're getting bars on this album, all right? The production on this album was kind of weak, okay? Yes, I'm not expecting Dr. Dre, RZA, DJ Premier production, but Rakim has a long way to go when it comes to production skills, improving his production skills, all right? None of the tracks on the album really stand out from each other. It's only 7 tracks, and if we're asking for a Rakim album and we only get 2 tracks with Rakim vocals, all we get is Be Ill and Now Is the Time. I think Be Ill is the better track. Okay, so if we're looking for Rakim and we're looking for what's the best track on the album, the best track could be track number 7 with Method Man. Okay, it's just there are no really standout tracks on this album. Nothing spectacular, nothing, whoo, I gotta rewind, I gotta play it over. Yes, you can replay the album, but there's nothing like, no bangers on this, okay? The length of the album, you all know how I feel about short albums. You put this album on, by the time you turn around, the album's done. I think it's like 35 minutes. Let me check the album runtime. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. What's the album's runtime? Hold up. Well, I can't find the album runtime. Where's the info? I think it's around 32 minutes and 11 seconds. What? Rakim, we've been waiting for you for the last 15, 20 years. And you put out a 32-minute album with only 7 tracks? And you're only rapping on 2 tracks? Okay, all right. The length of the album, I'm not happy with. 12 tracks, yeah. 13 tracks, yeah. 7, no. I'm not happy with the length of the album. This album, when you ask the question, who is this album for? This album is for hip-hop heads, y'all. Okay? This album is for the 80s, the 90s. That's for them. That's for us. This is not for the new generation. Listen, I'm not saying that they can't listen to it, but from what I'm listening to on this album is for a certain fan. Chino XL is on there, Master Killer, Fred the Godson, Cool G Rap, Joel Ortiz, Method Man, Crooked I, Corrupt. These are all spitters. So this album is for the hip hop fan, not the rap fan, not the Cardi B's, not the red hair girl. No. This is for hip hop heads. All right, let me read some of the chat. Thank you for in the chat. All right. Vernon is out there LOLing. Blocker says, respect your opinion too, but No, Kanye West doesn't have a better discography than Dr. Dre. Listen, Blocker, my opinion is my opinion. I don't expect anybody to agree with my opinion. But if you look at Dr. Dre's albums, Dr. Dre has, let me pull Dr. Dre. Hold on a second. Okay. Let me pull Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre's albums. Okay. So Dre has his Chronic classic album. Okay. Dre has Chronic 2001 classic album. And then Dre has the Compton album. Good. Not great. So that's 3 albums. 3 albums from Dr. Dre. All right. All right. Now, love him or hate him, love Kanye or hate him, love the old Kanye, love the young Kanye, whatever you want to say. Kanye West, The College Dropout, classic album, top to bottom. Late Registration, classic album, top to bottom. Graduation, close to classic, but amazing album, top to bottom. 808s and Heartbreaks, not one of my favorite Kanye albums. Good album, people loved it. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, great album. I'm not gonna say classic, great album. Jay-Z and Kanye, Watch the Throne, classic album. Kanye West Presents, good music. The Yeezy album, okay. Life of Pablo, good, not great. The Ye album, Kid Seagull. Listen. I know we love Dr. Dre, but when it comes to discography, Dr. Dre's 3 albums cannot compare to Kanye West's discography. He just can't. Blocker, thank you for the comment. All right. NYC Addiction says, Kanye West type shit. Kanye told that to Nas, and he did it. Shout out to NYC Addictions in the building. Vernon Smart says, I was against Mobb Deep joining G-Unit. I was as well. I think it messed up their legacy. It did. And this is exactly what Big Twins was scared of. Like, when they went and joined G-Unit, it's like they weren't standing on their own 2 feet anymore. Like Mobb Deep's first 4 albums was Mobb Deep, Prodigy and Havoc. Going at everybody, going at Rockefeller, going at Tupac, going at everybody. When they joined G-Unit, their music came, we got some pop song, it changed their legacy. And I agree with you, Vernon, on that. NYC Addiction says, Vernon, no it didn't. What up, by the way? Nah, they stayed in their lane and they got a check. And they stayed in beef, so it was a good fit. Because 50 was trying to get Queens together. Shout out to 50. Shout out to Side. Shout out to NYC Addictions. Good take. I like that take. But again, I was totally against the move. Me personally. Blocker says you should review Biggie Smalls' Life After Death album next. Yeah, we'll see. NYC Addiction has a comment. NYC says, Dr. Dre has great melodies. They hit different. But Kanye has a great sound and it has different frequencies. Yep. Dr. Dre is a great producer. But albums-wise, he doesn't have enough content to mess with Kanye West. Vernon Smart has a comment. Vernon says, Boss, how come nobody complained when Dr. Dre had features on most of his Chronic 2001 album? Okay, let me tell you why. Okay? Number one, back in the days when Dr. Dre came out with his album, Dr. Dre was not known as a rapper. Dr. Dre was part of NWA, which he was the DJ. Yeah, he was maybe on some of the songs, but Dr. Dre was always considered a DJ. Rakim was always considered a rapper. And when you in the 90s, I'm not talking about now, in the 90s, you had to stand tall. You had to spit your bars. You had to write your bars. If people considered you upper echelon of rap back in the 90s, you had to stand on your own. Yeah, rappers had features, 1, 2, 3 features. But back then when we had 14, 15 track albums, the artists made sure that they were on almost every track. This Rakim album, seven tracks, and he's only rapping on 2. That is unacceptable. Okay, so 80s Rakim, 90s Rakim, we know who Rakim is. Rakim is a God MC. So for Rakim to go away for so long and to come back now and to release an album and not give us more content, no, he can't do that. Rakim, the God MC, every song he has a feature? Rakim? No. Vernon, no. That's a no-no. And again, me as a fan, I'm going to take it. Like I said, I like the album. I'm going to bump the album. But as the God MC, as Rakim is, for being away for so long and to now come and drop an album, he got to put out more content than that. You cannot be rapping on only 2 tracks. It's not acceptable. But I'll take it. So Dr. Dre, producer, raps. Rakim is a rapper producing. It's a little different, Vernon. But great question. Thank you for that. Ribs touching. I like that name. Ribs touching. If you don't know, old school slang, ribs touching. All right, when you're hungry, you're starving. Anyway, ribs touching got a comment. Pendulum Swing, the only song on repeat right now. Pendulum Swing is featuring, Crooked Eye, Chino XL. Like I said, man, that Chino verse, you got to rewind that verse, man. Ribs touching ain't lying. That Chino verse, you got to rewind that verse. Chino has the by far the best verse on that song. And like I said, track number 1, Be Ill. I like that track. Corrupt killed it. Master Killer killed it. And I like track number 7, Method Man went in. Fred the Godson went into. But anyway, Ribs Touching says Pendulum Swing is the only song on repeat right now. Vernon Smart says, at NYC Addictions, do you think that Blood Money was a classic album? No, Blood Money is, I'm gonna answer for him. Blood Money is not a classic album. The only classic album that Mobb Deep has, let me go to Mobb Deep's discography. Hold on a second. I'm gonna answer that for him. Juvenile Hell, great album, not classic. The Infamous album, classic, top to bottom. Hell on Earth, classic album, top to bottom. Not perfect, okay? When I say classic, I'm not saying perfect, guys. Understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Let me just be clear. It's not perfect, but it's still a classic. It's something you can bump over and over, and it's the longevity on the album still hits to this day. So understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying the album is perfect. I'm saying it's a classic album, all right? Murder Music, very good album. There's a few misses on there, but amazing album. Infamy, they went at Jay-Z hard on this album. Ooh, Prodigy was in Jay-Z's on this album. Good album, close to great, but not their best album. America's Nightmare, I love that album. That album has such a gritty opening. Listen, the opening track for that album, fire. Blood Money, too much pop, too much G-Unit, 50 Cent's hooks. Blood Money is a good album, way too heavily influenced by G-Unit. So Vernon, I'm gonna let NYC Addictions answer, but I don't think it's a classic album. Thank you for that. Iman has a question. Iman says, you think Rakim sacrificed Chino? I heard someone say that on IG. Iman, I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I think sometimes we got to understand that people live and people pass away. And we don't know what goes on inside some people's lives. You know, let's take a look at the actor from The Wire that passed away. Everybody looked at him and he was always a jolly guy doing stuff for the community. And he was addicted to drugs. He lost his life using drugs. Some people would have never thought that. You look at that. You look at there's a lot of people out here that pass away, and number one is just it's part of life, man. We're gonna live. We're gonna pass away. Some people pass away from the simplest things: a blood clot. You fall down, you knock your head. Some people, it's just life. And I don't subscribe to the I don't subscribe, Iman, to the conspiracy theory stuff. Like, what would Rakim have to gain from something like that? You know, Rakim has been around since the 80s making music. And Rakim has a great track record in the rap industry. There are some people, Iman, that if they need to come up, it's not hard for them to come up. Me and you, it's hard for us to come up because we never had our foot in the door. Okay, some of these artists that had their foot in the door and maybe they fell down, it's not hard for them to come back up. All they got to do really is make a few phone calls to people that they know in the industry to get back up and to get back in there. And you look at today, you look at the music today, Iman, a lot of artists back in the 80s and 90s, they weren't making that kind of money. Yeah, they were selling millions of records, but the record company was making most of the money. And a lot of these rappers from back then, some of them don't have what they should have had. So now you see them releasing music now, putting out albums now, selling crypto. They had their foot in the door, so it's not hard for them to make a come up. Pick any old school artist you want that was out in the 80s and 90s. Pick anyone. If they're down on their luck today, all they got to do is make a few phone calls. Yo, Jay, man, Jay. Yo, it's me, man, Rakim, man. Yo, I need a favor, man. I'm down right now, Jay. I just get me on a feature, Jay. Get me on a feature. Anybody. Pick anybody. All they got to do is make a phone call to the right person and they're back in. Look at Memphis Bleak. Memphis Bleak is back making music again. Look at Petey Crack. They said State Property was done. Look at Petey. Petey's making music. Freeway's making music. Graph is making music. Look at Dipset. Look at what's his name? Joel Santana's making music. A lot of these old school artists, they can make it back. And this is the perfect time to them to do it because now they don't have to worry about the record industry anymore. They don't have to worry about the Rockefeller or the Def Jam or the Interscope. They don't have, or the MC. They don't have to worry about those guys no more. They can go in the studio, create their own music, go on the internet and release their music and make more money than they were making back then. So, Iman, I don't subscribe to the conspiracy theory stuff. I think, unfortunately, things happen, and I'm pretty upset. I'm pretty upset that Chino did not get the opportunity to enjoy the fruits of this song. This song is hard. That Pendulum Swing song, that song is hard. Chino XL went in. And I'm pretty sure this would have sparked him to do more music again. And it's unfortunate that he passed away. So yeah, Iman. Thank you for that, Iman. So we're talking about Rakim's album. I'm almost to the end of it. Like I was saying, plenty of heavy spitters on the album. Production is kind of weak. The length of the album, 7 tracks only. The album is too short. One of the good things about this album, like I just said, this is an album for real hardcore hip hop fans. There's no raunchy bars in here. There's no shake your butt tracks in here. There's none of that idiotic hip hop in here. This album, the rappers on this album, Crooked Eye, Fred the Godson, Cool G Rap, Master Killer, Chino XL, Corrupt, Joel Ortiz, Method Man. these are all respected artists that Cannabis that Rakim got on this album. So I like that about the album. It's a very hip hop oriented album, but too many features on this album. For a 7-track album, he has way too many features and he's only spitting on 2 tracks. I think that's unacceptable. This is not a, my final thoughts, this is not a Rakim album. This is not a Rakim album, guys. This is a Rakim and Friends album. This is a compilation album. You can't tell me that Rakim can't give us 7 tracks with seven bars, with bars on each track. Excuse me. You can't. Why? How all these years and Rakim don't have more music? How are we waiting over 15 years for a Rakim album and he only gives us 2 verses on a 7-track album? But I am going to say I like the album. I'm a hip hop head. The features on this album, I think it's way too feature heavy, but I like the artist. I like Coogee Rap. I like Cannabis. I like Chino XL. I like Corrupt. I like Master Killer. I like Method Man. I like, these are my types of MCs. These aren't no cookie cutter MCs. These are real spitters. And I see Iman has a comment. Iman says sorry for that comment. No, hold up, Iman. Iman, you've been coming here on this channel for years now. No comment. You don't have to apologize for any comment, Iman. You don't have to apologize for anything, Iman. You've been coming to this channel. You've been supporting this channel day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Harlem is in the building. Iman, you don't have to. No. It's you have an opinion. You say what's on your mind. We as people, Iman, we should be able to have hard conversations. You're not disrespecting anybody. I'm not disrespecting anybody. We're having a conversation. You ask a question, I answer the question. You have a comment, I have a comment. All right, this channel here, I respect everyone that comes to this channel. And I don't want you ever to think that you can't ask a question, Iman. So salute, Iman. Don't say sorry for that comment. That was that was an interesting comment. Me personally, I don't know what happened to Chino XO. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't believe in some of the conspiracy stuff. That's just me. Who knows what happened? I don't know what happened. All right, so shout out to Iman. Iman, thank you for that. But yeah, I'm giving this album a 7 out of 10, man. It's not Rakim's best album. And I don't think that this was fair for Rakim to do this to us. Because Rakim knows that his fans are waiting for new music from him. This is like the Nas and DJ Premier. DJ Premier and Nas, we've been waiting for a Nas and Premier album forever. If Nas and Premier drop a 7-track album and Nas only spits on 2 of the tracks, you're gonna be mad. I'll be mad too. So I don't think that was fair for Rakim to release an album like this. However, I like it because I'm a Rakim fan and I enjoy these artists. He needs to work on his production. All right. He needs to work on the length of albums. Give us a longer album, Rakim. Give us 12 tracks. Give us 13 tracks. Okay. But his next album needs to be more focused on him. And I understand why he does. I understand why artists do this. When an artist puts these much features into an album, it reaches more people. Okay? He has West Coast artists on there. He has East Coast artists on there. All right? So people on the West Coast are going to buy the album to hear the West Coast artists. And people on the East Coast are going to buy the album because they want to hear the East Coast album. East Coast artists. Nipsey Hussle is passed away. He's on the album. People that miss Nipsey, they're going to buy the album to hear Nipsey's verse. Fred the Godson passed away. Fred the Godson's on the album. People are going to buy the album to hear Fred Godson's album. DMX is on the album. People, I understand why they do this. I don't like it, but his next album, he needs to give us more content, work on the production, get the production at another level. If you listen to the album, hit the comments. Let me know, how do you rate the album? And let me read some comments. I got Rakim Heru is in the building. Rakim Heru says, it's not a whole album, it's an EP. Okay. Let me go back to that comment. Rakim Heru, thank you for joining the chat. Rakim Heru says, it's not a whole album, it's an EP. That's fair. That's fair. 7 tracks. I can't argue with that. Vernon has a comment. Vernon says, at 16, Rakim sacrificing Chino excels. Save that for Queen's Park Savannah Chronicles, but yeah, Vernon. Vernon has another comment. Vernon says, if Chino excels did record with KRS-One, Cool G Rap, and Big Daddy Kane, how can he be sacrificed by Rakim? Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know what happened. The only news we have is that he passed away. I don't think I've seen any records of the autopsy as yet. So we got to wait for that to find out what really happened with him. But again, I don't know what's going on. But rest in peace, Chino XL. Blocker has a comment. Blocker says, Memphis Bleak is back making music. Yes, Memphis Bleak has a couple tracks out. I think the hardest track Memphis Bleak has out right now is the track with him and PD Crack. What's that track called? Hold on. That track is called Bands Up and Do-Rag Bleak. All right, so Bands Up is hard. And they have another track. They have another track that they just did a video to. I can't remember the name of that one. But yeah, Blocker. Memphis Bleak is back doing music again. Vernon has a comment. Vernon says, if Chino excels, I already read that. I'm sorry. Let me go down in the chat. Rakim and Friends. I mean, listen, man. Vernon, it's 7 tracks. It's 7 tracks. Okay, listen to me for a second, guys. You're telling me, right? 15 or more years now, we haven't had verses from Rakim, right? You don't think Rakim has been writing music for the last how much years? Why would Rakim put out 7 tracks? Like Rakim Heru says, it's an EP. Okay, you put out an EP, 7 tracks, right? Why you only have 2 verses? Now, we're coming from an era, right? We're coming from an era, 80s and 90s, when rappers had 3 verses on their song, on one track. We came from an era where rappers had 3 verses on their songs. Now, today, they have 2 verses, yeah. But we're coming from an era where they used to have 3 verses on a song. You telling me Rakim couldn't put more than 1 verse? He couldn't put 1 verse on each 7 song? Come on. Listen, I love Rakim, but I am not giving him a pass on that one. All right? Vernon says, this man says Rakim and Friends sounds like a low-budget Calypso showcase. Shout out to Trinidad and Tobago, man. Today's actually our Emancipation Day, so shout out for that. Rakim Heru has another comment. Rakim says, how many times I gotta watch this interview? He said it was just an EP and he would have been on every track. It's showing off his production. Okay. Thank you for that, Heru. I'm not in the know. This is something that I didn't know. Let me read this again. Rakim Heru says, how many times I gotta say this? It's not an album. Thank you for that. It's an EP. He says, If you watch his interviews, I did not watch the interviews. My apologies. I did not watch his interviews. If you watch his interviews, he said it was just an EP and he wouldn't be on every track. It's showing off his production. So that gives that information. Thank you for that, Rakim Heru. That information is very important. Thank you for that. So Rakim is saying that, Heru is saying that Rakim has went on record saying that this is more of a production showcase than a rapping showcase. And if that's the case, cool. I can take that. I can take that. I'm going to have to go back and look at some of his interviews before the album dropped to get some more context of that. But Rakim Heru, thank you for that comment. Thank you. Diamond Onyx says, thanks everyone for pressing the like button. Thank you, Diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Tell me when you get that package, Diamond. Your package is on the way. I want to see a pic. Put it up or post it on my let me know when you get it, Diamond. Thank you for that, Diamond. Diamond's in the building. All right. Diamond says, good night, all. Good night, Diamond. Happy birthday again. Vernon has a comment. Vernon says, what do you think of Rakim and Jizza doing a joint album? Do you think he will learn more towards the beats or the lyrics if he collaborates with the genius? Listen, Rakim and Jizza, I'm down for that. I love Jizza. I love Rakim. To hear them both on one album, I'm down for that. And Rakim's only going to get better. You know, I'm pretty sure Rakim is around producers. I'm pretty sure Rakim is working on his craft. So you got to think he's only going to get better as a producer. I just think that this material he put out here, it's good, not great. But of course, he'll get better. And steel sharpens steel, man. There was a time when you wouldn't think Jizza is better than Rakim. Rakim was a beast. Late 80s? Wu-Tang was out in the 90s too. So no disrespect to Jizza. But yeah, Vernon, I would definitely love to see a Rakim Jizza collaboration. And again, like I said earlier, we're only going to see more from these artists because it's easier for them to release content now. It's not like back in the days where they got to jump through hoops. They got to go to all these record companies. They don't have to do that nowadays. It's much easier for them to control their material and make more money off of what they release. Merch, he can put together some merch, a merch team. I'm pretty sure Rakim has a good team around him. So shout out for that. Vernon Smart says, 16, you have a point regarding the 7 tracks after a long hiatus. As a matter of fact, Rakim is dodging, let me see what that says. Dodging Big Daddy Kane from a rap battle. That's something I think right about now. Remember, guys, Versus is coming back. Versus is coming back. Swiss Beats, Timbaland just signed that contract with X to promote Versus. So Versus is coming back. We saw Big Daddy Kane do a Versus with KRS-One. So are we going to see a Rakim Versus? I'm just saying. Versus is coming back. Swiss Beats and Timbaland asked, who do y'all want to see? So, Vernon, who knows? We might get to see one. Blocker says, how come you're ignoring my latest comments? My bad, Blocker. Let me see what you got up in there. Blocker says, I'm going to listen to this when I give me my thoughts. Okay, Blocker, thank you for that. Listen to that. Thank you. Blocker says, at NYC Addictions, okay, my favorite Dr. Dre album is 2001. Shout out to Blocker. Shout out to everybody coming through today. Don't forget, each and every Thursday, man, we have our Talking Bars. And you guys, thank you all for joining each and every week. Thanks for supporting the channel. Don't forget, if you ever want to support the channel, we have merch on sale all the time. So check out our merch. You can get it out to you as quick as possible. Don't forget, this is G-Unit month. We got so much G-Unit stuff coming for y'all this month. tap in, man. Drop your comments on the videos. Like the videos whenever you can. If you're looking at this video now and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead, hit subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 20,000 subs. Share the channel to all your friends. Iman has a comment. Iman says, we're still going to have to wait 2 more years for the verse. Listen, yo. Timberland and Swiss Beats. How do y'all sell verses, number one? And now we've been hearing this comeback. They were talking about coming back years ago. But I gotta say, they put the pictures up with Elon Musk. It's coming back. Again, I gotta say, man, Iman might be right. Iman could be right on this one, because when Snoop Doggy Dogg says, hey, I just bought Death Row Records, I'm gonna put out Death Row music. That was 5 years ago when Snoop Dogg said that. Snoop Dogg bought Death Row Records. I don't want to say 5 years, but it's been a minute now when Snoop Dogg purchased Death Row Records, and he says, yo, Death Row music is coming. It's coming. It's coming. Look how long we waited, and he finally dropped the We All We Got album. We just started now getting Death Row content from Snoop Dogg. So Iman might have a point. Even though they announced it coming back, who knows when we're gonna get it? Listen, I stopped holding my breath for Swiss Beats and Timberland. They full of it. I'm just gonna wait till it comes. When it comes, I'm gonna enjoy it. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining the chat. Salute to everybody. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Yo, listen, man, it's toasting here in New York City, man. Hope y'all staying cool wherever y'all are. It's your boy, y'all on Slow Tree. Let me read a few more comments before we get up out of here. Blocker says, but when is Versus coming back? Blocker, nobody knows. Okay? Blocker says, I want to see Busta Rhymes do a Versus. Everybody's waiting for Busta Rhymes to do a Versus. I want to see it too. Vernon Smart has a comment. Vernon says, Bars, the only 50 Cent's album that trumps Get Rich or Die Trying is Guess Who's Back. The beats and rhymes were better. When it comes to 50 Cent's albums, 50 Cent's best album is Get Rich or Die Trying. I think the other albums just don't hold up to that classic. And the G-Unit albums are really good too. The TOS album is really good, and the Beg for Mercy, I think, are pretty good albums. I love the Beg for Mercy album, classic album here in New York City, man. So shout out to G-Unit, shout out to 50 Cent, and shout out to all of y'all for joining the chat, man. It's your boy on Slow Tree. I'm up.